Well, hello again. I'm about 6.5 years into my recovery from a stroke, and it's an ongoing thing. And of course, I have this whole YouTube channel about various topics. And one of the things that I've learned into this, and I keep learning, and unfortunately, I don't see a lot of coverage of this in other topics about recovery. When most things about stroke recovery focus on the physical aspect. But the reality is the recovery from a stroke is really multidimensional. I mean, there's so many different aspects to it beyond just the physical. The psychological, your morale, your spiritual recovery, your ability to interact with others, your social recovery. There's just so many different aspects to it that I'm afraid it gets overlooked in this emphasis on the physical recovery. There are certain things like the ongoing challenge of trying to stay motivated against certain frustrations or limitations, and then also the overlooked opportunity, as I mentioned in an earlier video, to find new avenues, new outlets for your talent or ability, or to discover talents you didn't even know you had. Um, and as this goes on and as I learn more, I think, well, I've almost begun to focus more on the non-physical aspects because my physical recovery really is, it's very slow. Frankly, it's not nearly as good as I'd hoped by this point. In fact, the first 6 months of my recovery went so well so quickly that I thought, oh shoot, in a year I'll have this thing licked. I'll be back to normal. Yeah. But it is what it is, and but as I say, I have learned that there are other things, other parts of recovery. Like my reading comprehension took years to get back to where it had been. My appetite for certain things took a long time to settle down. And there's some other things I'll maybe get into in a later video about, my brain sending strange, conflicting signals. And it's still working some of that stuff out. When I was first after the stroke, if I would like bump my right arm or right hand, I would feel the pain in my left hand or even my left foot or my right foot or some other part of my body. And it's taken me a long time to get a lot of that stuff worked out, and it's an ongoing process. So anyway, I guess the upshot is that if you've had a stroke or some other physical disability or impact on you, don't just think about recovery in terms of your body. Think in terms of your mind and your spirit. I talk about this whole concept of dimensions being like survive, sustain, and succeed. That your survival skills, the things you need to do just to get by day to day, and then sustainment, how you keep yourself going. Can you like go to the grocery store and buy groceries for yourself? Can you cook? Can you clean? Do your laundry, stuff like that. And then success can be whatever you define. I think my recent submission of a dad joke to a local TV station that got on the air, for me that was a big success. I couldn't do it in person. I could not walk down to the TV station and do that. But I try to keep my sense of humor, and it's kind of a silly joke, but hey, it was on TV. So I encourage you, if you're going through something like this, any kind of challenge, to really keep going and think about the other aspects of your life beyond the obvious. So, hang in there. So, thanks for watching. Hope you'll keep watching, and we will see you soon in the next video.